When we place a new tenant in your property, there are several important steps that take place during that first month. Our goal is to protect your investment, set the tenant up for success, and eliminate confusion for you as the owner. Let me walk you through exactly what happens. Once a tenant is approved, we give them two options. They can either provide a traditional security deposit, or they can choose a deposit alternative program such as Obligo. This option allows the tenant to avoid coming up with a large upfront deposit while still protecting the lease for up to 1 full month's rent through the program. If the tenant elects to provide a traditional security deposit, those funds are held in escrow by our office in full compliance with Florida statutes. Either way, your property remains protected. We structure the first 2 months of rent in a way that benefits both you and the stability of the lease. We collect a full month of rent up front, regardless of the tenant's move-in date. Then, on the second month, the tenant pays the prorated amount for the days they occupied the home during that first partial month. So essentially, the 2 months are flipped. This prevents a situation where a tenant moves in late in the month and only pays a small prorated amount up front, and it allows us to properly fund the property from day one. One of the most critical steps we take is performing a detailed move-in inspection. We document the entire property with extensive notes and hundreds of photos inside and out. This is extremely important. If there are ever damages or disputes later, this report serves as clear, time-stamped evidence to protect you. We don't just hand over keys, we walk the tenant through the home. During onboarding, we show them how everything works, including GFCI outlets, breaker panels, emergency water shutoffs, and other key systems throughout the property. The goal here is simple: reduce preventable maintenance issues and make sure the tenant understands how to properly care for the home from day one. Once the tenant begins living in the home, it's very normal for small items to come up. Even with thorough inspections, real-world use can reveal things that weren't noticeable before. Here's how we handle that. We address necessary repairs to ensure all systems are functioning properly, while cosmetic items are documented and handled appropriately. We focus on making sure essential components such as doors, locks, windows, plumbing, and appliances are all operating as intended. It's important to understand that if a property includes certain features or amenities, those must be maintained throughout the lease. For example, if the home has a water softener, it cannot simply be removed instead of repaired. It must be maintained if it was provided with the property. We also ensure compliance with Florida requirements, including properly functioning windows, required window screens, and general habitability standards. In addition, we make sure all windows have proper coverings, such as blinds, to provide privacy and prevent tenant-installed damage to the home. For repairs under $500, we handle them without needing prior approval, and all invoices will be included with your owner statement for full transparency. By this point, you should have received an invitation to activate your owner portal. This is your central hub for everything related to your property. Inside the portal, you'll find owner statements with copies of paid invoices, lease agreements and inspection reports, maintenance requests and estimates for approval, year-end tax documents including your 1099s, and the ability to run reports using real-time data. The portal is designed to give you full visibility and clarity into what's happening with your property at all times. We also have a separate video that walks through all of its features in detail. This is where many owners have questions, so let's clear it up. When a tenant moves in, there are several standard items that are deducted from the rent collected. The leasing fee, which is 50% of 1 month's rent, and then the monthly management fee. Then we collect the $500 maintenance reserve if it hasn't already been collected, and any pre-move-in expenses such as cleaning, rekeying, or repairs. Because of these items, it's very common for the first owner disbursement to be lower than expected, or sometimes even zero. Then on the second month, you may notice that the rent collected is less than a full month. That's because this is when the prorated rent is collected. This is one of the most common points of confusion. Just remember, the rent structure is intentionally set up this way to allow us to properly fund the property up front, cover necessary expenses, and create a stronger, more stable start to the lease.
The first month sets the tone for the entire lease. Our process is designed to protect your property, reduce future issues, and create a smooth experience for both you and the tenant. If you ever have questions about your statements, your portal, or anything happening with your property, our team is always here to help.